go through 4 important things that will affect your investment decisions, will affect your buying decisions if you're a local who's looking to buy. And these are things that, after moving here 4 years ago to go full-time into investing, I learned just over the years as being some of the sort of big ticket items that I wish that I had a video to review before I had started investing, going over these exact things. So number 1 is the point of sale inspection. Depending on what market you're coming from, you might not have a requirement in your market that this local city inspector has to come into your home that you want to sell, review it, make a list of all the items that they want you to fix, and won't allow you to sell your home until those items have been repaired. So here, for example, in the city of University Heights and in a lot of the cities in Ohio, you have to, if you want to sell your home, you have to reach out to the city, arrange for a point of sale inspection, schedule it with the city. They will send an inspector out. That inspector will do an interior and an exterior inspection of your home. They will create a lengthy list if they find a lot of items. Hopefully it's a short list, but depending on the inspector you get and the mood that they're in that day, it could be longer or shorter. They will provide a report to you, and they'll let you know that you have 2 options. You can either complete those items and get the city to sign off on them and get the green light to sell, or find a buyer who will agree to assume all of those items, and then they'll let you sell to that buyer. And they'll tell the buyer that the buyer has a specific amount of days to complete those repairs. They will make the buyer set money aside as collateral with the title company that the buyer is using to hold on to funds as the city's collateral that you will not receive back until you've completed the repairs to the city's satisfaction. So that's something that it's interesting because not every city has the same requirements. For example, I'm in the city of University Heights right now, but abutting this city is the city of Beechwood, which does not have any point of sale inspection requirements at all. And nearby is the city of Mayfield Heights, which only has exterior point of sale inspections. They don't go inside your home. So just by default, that's going to be a less lengthy report of items that you might have to repair because they're not going inside. So it can affect your decision about where to buy, where to invest, if you know that certain cities aren't going to be as strict, aren't going to have as many requirements. And on our website, www.lppropertygroup.com, we have a few articles about point of sale inspections and a list of some of the cities that do not require point of sale inspections. That's definitely not something that should determine, you shouldn't say, well, there's no point of sale, so that's a place I'm going to invest and I'm not going to look at any others. You'd be missing some good places, but it's just something to keep in mind because it's a cost that you're going to have to build into your numbers and your assessment of what it's going to cost you to invest in that particular city. So that's number 1, point of sale inspections. Number 2, if you're coming from a place like California or another state that has sort of steady property taxes, in California you're gonna have a 1.25% property tax rate, and it's going to stay pretty steady for the length of your ownership, going up at most about 2% per year. But here, property taxes vary dramatically between cities. It's a city-based item, and so, for example, where I'm walking right now, I'm in Cuyahoga County. Here in Cuyahoga County, there are cities like the city of Brooklyn Heights, which has a 1.76% property tax rate. And then there's cities like Shaker Heights, which have a 4% property tax rate. City of University Heights, where I am, has a 3.76% property tax rate. So on our website as well, we have a list of the different property tax rates throughout Cuyahoga County. But as you can see, I mean, if you look at investing either in Shaker Heights or Brooklyn Heights, just as examples, you could be paying double the property tax rate in one city over another. So it's definitely something that's going to affect your bottom line as an investor and as an owner. And so it's something you really want to look into before you make a decision about which city you're going to invest in. Number 3 also deals with property taxes, and it has to do with how your property taxes are going to change every 3 years. So again, just to take an example of where I moved here from 4 years ago, California, you're going to know that once you buy, your assessed value at the time you buy is the purchase price you paid, and it's based on that price that the county is going to decide how much you owe in taxes. Well, here in Ohio, by law, the county is going to change that value every 3 years. So you don't get to rest on, I paid this much for the property, and my 1.25% or whatever property tax rate it is going to be based on what I paid for the home and for as long as I live there. Here, if the market changes dramatically and prices go up dramatically, you're going to be paying, that's going to feed into the every 3-year revaluation of your home by the county, and your property taxes are going to go up. Specifically how that happens is every 6 years there's something called a reappraisal, and every 3 years there's something called an update to the property value. So every 6 years, the county will actually send an appraiser out to your property, and they will look at it, and they'll look at its condition, and they'll come up with a value. And that value will now be the number upon which they apply the property tax rate to determine how much property tax you owe. So if your property value goes up by 30%, to keep it easy, and you paid $100,000 for it, it was assessed at $100,000, and now it's valued at $130,000, then you're going to pay, if you're in Shaker Heights, 4% of $130,000. So you'll definitely feel that. I mean, I have some rentals in Summit County, Ohio. We just had property taxes go up there by 34% in the most recent reappraisal. And then they'll also do an update. So every 6 years there's a reappraisal. Every 3 years there's an update. The update is different in that they do not send an actual appraiser out to the property. They just look at, from the desktop, they look at recent sales in your area, sales comps, and they adjust your value based on those. So it's something that you really have to keep in mind. When I'm going to buy a property, I will figure out, well, where am I in the reassessment cycle, reappraisal cycle? Should I build into my spreadsheet, an assumption that I'm going to be paying a higher tax rate, a higher tax amount, because next year there's going to be a reappraisal, and I know that property values have gone up. So I need to consider that. And the last one, number 4, is relates to gas and electric bills. So unlike, again, I'll just use California as an example, where there's a monopoly, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, that controls how much you pay for gas and electric. Here, there's competition. So there's a slew of gas and electric suppliers who are competing for your business, and you will, when you buy a property, be defaulted into a supplier, but you don't have to stick with them. And there's all sorts of variation. There's no monopoly. And so if you're investing in multifamily, or you're investing in commercial like I do, you're not going to be able to pass on always 100% of your gas and electric bills to your tenants. So some of your costs are going to be gas and electric, and you have the ability to sometimes, we were able to cut ours in half by switching to a different supplier. So the way to do that is there's a website, energychoice.ohio.gov, and on that website there's a page called Apples to Apples, and you can go on there and see every supplier in your area and all the different terms that they're offering. And I mean, it can be really dramatic. Just to give an example, I checked before making this video, and there's one supplier for electricity right now called New Wave, and they're offering 4.4 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity. And there's the default supplier that you'll be defaulted into if you don't opt out and choose your own company, that's at 11 cents per kilowatt hour, so more than double, almost triple. And it gets a little bit more complicated because there's lots of different contract terms, term lengths. Like, for example, some of the companies offer 3, 6, and 9 month terms, and if you don't reach out to them before the end of your term, they'll really jack up the prices on you. But there's a lot of variation. There's some that just charge a flat rate. There's some that charge a floating rate based on the market value. So you need to be aware of that, as it can really affect your monthly costs. So that's about it. I hope that's helpful. If you want to see more content like this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe.